Hello everybody, Preacher back again, and today we have another After the Hype blast from the past, the old Gata by QP. Yeah, I know, everyone's surprised I never did it. A lot of people have asked for it, so hopefully you can't fucking watch it. Let's go down. I'm going to show you what you get in the box, but I'm not going to show you one build and another build and versus. This tank's been out for a very long time. I'm going to show you how I use it. Let's go down, have a look. Okay, this is the packaging your Gata would have come in. I'm not going to waste any time or look over the back or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. You've all seen these videos before, but I have not done my take on this. And I think a lot of you are surprised that this is the only QP. Ignore that. That's just me cleaning the bastard out because I have been using it thoroughly. Yeah, a lot of people are surprised that I have not reviewed this, yet I talk about it all the time. So I thought this is the perfect thing to do a After the Hype on. So here we go. We have a 2-in-1 tank with this, the Gata. Now you have mouth to lung and what I would consider to be a direct lung. It's not even restricted, you know, so... yeah, this works just like an undercoil fucking version of like the Jug MR or something, a little less airflow than something like that, but your same sort of usual QP stuff going up on top. 510 though instead of 810, obviously, and then we're going to go all the way to the right. It's going to pop up so you get your kidney holes showing there. Now I'll unscrew the bastard, thank you. And you can see the difference between these here two chimneys. Mostly the difference that you're going to see is really all in the height. I have never really been able to figure out if this one here is any more narrow than this one. I believe that the little piece of plastic that they've got here at the top, you see how the metal ends and then you've got the plastic? I think that little plastic bit there, where the drip tip sits in, that does make it slightly more condensed than that. That's my opinion. But yeah, slapped cap, you're a lot closer to the coil and whatnot. Big downfall with this one, however, is as good as it looks, there is no way to fill it. You have to do one of them, which I will show you in a minute, because that's actually that's the cap I use, believe it or not. Now I prefer it as a direct lung vape or a restricted direct lung vape myself. If you were to change over to the other to use for mouth to lung, you would then take off your airflow, which is actually a little tricky to do when the whole thing's apart. So you want to twist, and then it's going to come off like so. It can only go on one way. You feel it go on there. And then over here, you've got her on a stopper, just like that. Now, if you wanted to use the mouth to lung, you would flip her over, and on this side you've got one big ass hole there, which I don't know the size of. I'd like to tell you, I think she's about the 1.5. It'd be 1.2, 1.5. It's a bit bigger than a 1 mil hole, and to be honest, I've never fucking known. But you get multiple options when you do throw on your other airflow ring, like so. And if you can't quite tell if you're lined up, you see there's a little dot, there's a little line there on the tank that helps you know whether or not you're lined up. So that's a little helpful. Instead of standing there in the sun trying to look through it, or you have a little bit of trouble, just locate it within that little... I like that, cool little feature, but me personally, I don't use none of this. Let's take a look at the deck, and I'm going to show you how I run this. So, deck, very, very straightforward. You do have an Ultim insert in the center there that you do need to be very, very wary of. Now, this, once again, correlates with the size of the hole on the side, I believe, for the MTLs, like a 1.5-ish sort of insert. And these inserts can be a real pain in the ass to put in and get out. And I do not recommend doing your build. They do not recommend you doing your build with it in, which I find really interesting, because that is QP telling you, put your coil in, take the insert out, put your coil in, pulse her up, get her ready, take the coil out, put your insert back in, then put your coil back in, wick her up. Fuck that, but I do understand why they say it, because you will melt that Ultim. 1.3 millimeters is your size for your grub screws, and they are just what you would expect from QP, absolutely buttery smooth. I'm going to take this coil here, watch the camera, Jack, pop her in like so. I'm just going to give you a rough idea as to how I run this. So usually I would run this with the insert in and a much, much higher resistance coil. I would usually use like a 0.5, 0.4 maybe even, like that's probably about as low as I'd usually go. This coil here is like a 0.2, so 0.16 it's reading at the moment. So we've got a very, very low build for what I'm used to in there. Bring her slightly away from the deck, and now you can see why I don't have that insert in there, because if you look at my build, let's zoom in a little bit. All right, see my build here. Now, although the Ultim would not be touching, she'd be fucking close. Now, this is where I'd like to run a coil like this, a coil that is going to put out the amount of heat that this is going to fucking put out. I don't want that insert in there. Now, this is just, once again, this thing's been going for fucking ages. People have used the Gata. A lot of you guys have used the Gata, and people love it. So you guys know how you use it. You know how to use it. You know that it's both MTL and restricted direct lung, but, well, semi-restricted. It's a direct lung single coiler. Fucking cotton. Gonna go with some QP Snow. This shit is fucking great. Love this fucking cotton. Wicks amazingly, so fluffy, really, really easy to work with. Just all round great fucking cotton. Who knew that they could make atomizers and good cotton? Oh, that's what we've gotten from. Snip and snip. Now they need a light brush with this. Very, very light brush out. Just make sure all that cotton's sort of moving the same way. You don't need to actually lose any of it. We've got about the perfect amount there. Just want to make sure she's all nice and fluffy. And boom. And then take that excess off there too. And now we'll take that cotton and just very, very neatly tuck her inside that well there. Very nice juice well, very forgiving, as pretty much everything that QP's ever made. Now, the way I'm vaping this clearly is not an MTL by any means. But when I tell you guys that this is the only MTL tank I will own and use, so far I'm still not lying. How many years on are we? This has to have been out for now, I'm going to guess, close. It's got to be close to 4 years. It's been at least 2 or 3. I'm going to say it's probably closer to 4 fucking years. This has been out for a very long time. And the point I'm trying to make here is that people slept on it. People are still sleeping on it. And if you're someone who's watching this video, if you in the comments below could let me know of a tank that does both mouth to lung and direct lung, that wasn't just a bullshit cop-out or name slap or anything like that. It was actually worth it. So, there you go. You have your vapors. We have a 0.2 build in there. If you can see, you can't see because the camera won't fucking focus. 0.2 build. 47 watts. Looks pretty damn nice in there. And what I do is I use, once again, I use the MTL tight, slightly more tighter, but definitely closer to the coil, more of a slammed cap. Now you do have to be very careful when you're filling this because there is nowhere for that juice to go. So you sort of just got to slowly work it around. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, so outdated. You know, even at the time this did release, I remember thinking, fuck, guys, why'd you do that? But 9 times out of 10, people are only using this tank here that I am using for MTL. Now, you're going to have a 1.6, a 1.4, a 1 ohm build, maybe a 0.7, 0.8 build in there if you really want. And this 2 mLs of juice, trust me, is going to be more than enough. Will you be annoyed when you have to fucking refill it? Of course you fucking will be. Every single time. Yes, it's annoying. It's fucking annoying. But it does last a long time, so it's not like you're constantly, you know, pulling it apart and refilling it. It lasts in there 2 mils in a tank like this. And then we're going to take our direct lung airflow, because that's what we use, and I'm going to keep her right about there. See this? Not quite halfway, but a bit, you know, just a little bit closed off. We'll say a third closed off, and that's exactly where we're going to run it. No insert. We're going to start here, and I'm going to show you just how much air you can pull off this, even with an MTL cap on top. But yeah, some of you might think it's unconventional. Of course it's unconventional, but this is how I have vaped this tank for the last 2-3 years, and I'm a big fan of it in this configuration. Anyway, let's go up on top, talk more about it. All right, we're back on top. We have a re-wicked. She's a fucking good-looking tank, isn't she? Really is. Pairs amazingly with this Fatal mod, just hand in hand. But yeah, 50 watts, MTL top, direct lung bottom. Let's go, 50 watts. Whew. Ooh. Open that airflow all the way. Fuck, a 0.2 coil in this. It's pushing it. That's why I left the insert out. So I would usually run it still with the insert, but the coil would be fucking doubled. Yeah, about there. All the way open at 45, 50 watts. We're there, 40 watts. And a perfect hit. A perfect hit. So where I would probably usually run 55, 60 watts through a 0.6, 0.5. Yeah, I can't really push much more than this. But still, 40 watts. It's nice. It's warm. If I put the other chimney on, yeah, we might be able to pull a little bit more, but I think this is pretty damn good for a 0.2 coil. This is the lowest coil I've ever put in this, ever. And I'm still thoroughly loving it. This tank, for its time, 3 years ago, if the review was here, then by all means, it would have got like a fucking an 8, probably even a 9. There's not a lot you can pick. There's a few things, very few things. And they all come down to little things that I've always picked on QP for. I've never been a big fan of the over-the-top QP logo on things. I've never liked that, but you know, they've slowly started changing the way they do that on their tanks. So, you know, you can't pick them for that. The bottom fill, even for its time at the time, was baffling. I was like, fuck, man. But I love using it this way. I love it like this. And it looks good too. It looks very good. That aside, there's nothing you can really pick. So there's no top fill on this cap that I like to use. Both, it comes with 2 510s, 2 caps, 2 different airflows, 2 different ways of running the fucking tank. And if you go ahead and you take that insert out like I did today, you've got even more fucking You got even more room to fuck around with it, because I never thought I'd run a 0.2 build in here, but here we are. Nice, hot, restricted, but not too restricted. It's more the heat that gives you the restriction, because you're bringing plenty of airflow through. It's just fucking great. It really is great. I think even in today's standards, I would still happily go in the 7 mark for this. I would like to see them redo it to a degree. Maybe change that insert. Changeable inserts. Have multiple. Make them metal like you've done in all your other ones. They remaster shit. It seems to be their thing. I'm surprised they haven't remastered the 2-in-1. Because as far as the 2-in-1's concerned, there isn't better than this. That I have used. That I have seen. That I have talked to people about. So, I want you guys now to go down in the comments and let me know, have you used something that is both direct lung and mouth to lung, and it actually do both very well? Because I've used a lot that do one or the other okay. I never do both as well as this does both. Fucking lovely device. Still stands up today versus any of the fucking MTL shit that I've fucking bought and built over the years. This is still better. If you've used one that you know you've put up against the Gata and you think is better, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for tuning in to an After the Hype. It's been a while. It has been a little bit since I've done an After the Hype. It's been a moment since I've even just done a fucking review in general. No one's sending anything, guys. China have gone on like some sort of nap strike or whatever. They're all cranky and don't want to use their emails or anything at the moment. So I'm left here with not a whole lot to fucking do. But once again, as always, if you want to catch me doing random fucking lives and chatting and shit like that, jump over to the Twitch. I'm always randomly, sporadically over there. Thank you all for tuning in to a great RTA review. This is by far the best MTL and restricted direct lung that I've ever used. As far as a wide open direct to lung, I'd rather use a jug or something like that. But if you're really trying to dial this in, as far as MTL, it's perfect. I like it wide open as an MTL, like a rather loose MTL. But then for my direct lung hit, I do like it insanely restricted as well, like this. So I'll tell you right now, I could mouth to lung this. Let's do it. I'm waffling on because I've got nothing else to do, guys. I've got nothing else to do. When's there going to be another review? Fuck. Fucking gorgeous. Anyway, I'll harp on forever. Thank you for tuning in to an old video, an old review, but a new review, a new take on it. I don't think I've ever shown you guys how I build this or why I build it this way, but this is my way of getting best of both worlds without having to build it one way or another. I build it somewhere in the fucking middle and use both. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, absolutely, keep on vaping, keep on preaching.